About a month ago, I released a video on free agents that the Texans should or could target. In that video, I have the bigger name free agents, the Trent Browns, the Ronald Darby's, and, bigger name players or just other names in general. This video is part 2 to that video, so if you haven't watched my first free agency video, the link to that video will be at the top of my description for this video. Anyways, let's move on to this next list. This list does feature a few big name players, but mostly, for the most part, it's kind of, second wave of free agency type of players. Now, one thing I will mention, in my last video, I did say there have been rumors that AJ Bouye and Jimmy Smith, both corners, could possibly get cut. Now, AJ Bouye, that one was always going to be a stretch, and at this point, I still don't see that one happening. Now, Jimmy Smith, though, for the Ravens, I think he is going to get cut. I feel like there's like an 85% chance he gets cut. So if he does get cut, I say the Texans should go get him. Jimmy Smith, yes, he's a little bit older, but in my opinion, Jimmy Smith would still be the best corner on the market, even though he is 30 years old and will be 31 to start the season. I feel if the Texans were to pursue a Jimmy Smith, it'll probably be a 2-year deal, and I am more than okay with that because the Texans at the corner position, they need corners everywhere, and the corner situation for the Texans, unfortunately, isn't something that's going to be fixed in one off season. It's going to take like 2 years to fix the Texans' terrible corner position. So, I mean, in my opinion, why not bring in a guy like Jimmy Smith, who was better than anyone you have on the roster, who's a proven #1 shutdown corner. Give him a 2-year contract and, have him hold it down for, just a little bit while you actually get some younger corners and the whole cornerback situation situated. Now, the next name, another big name player, Landon Collins. Now, I know what some of you guys are going to think. Why would we get Landon Collins? We got Justin Reed, Tyrann Mathieu, and Kareem Jackson. Well, there's been zero news on Kareem Jackson and Tyrann Mathieu. In fact, most people have started to speculate that the Texans will be letting probably both of them walk. But again, that's just speculation. Now, if the Texans were to, let them walk for whatever reason, I want to re-sign at least one of them. Don't care which one it is. Would prefer Mathieu because he's younger. But if the Texans were to let him walk, Landon Collins is the name that they could look at. Personally, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I am not that big a fan of Landon Collins. I think Landon Collins is a good player, but he's not what I think the Texans should be looking for, because in my opinion, Landon Collins is more of a box safety, a run-stopping kind of guy, more of another linebacker. In my opinion, the Texans need guys that can cover. Landon Collins last season wasn't so good in coverage, so that kind of, scares me away from him, and we need to get the secondary figured out. We need some guys that can cover back there, and Landon Collins, in my opinion, he's not one of them. I wouldn't be too mad if we got him if it was for the right price, but again, if the Texans, were to end up with Collins, don't expect a guy that's going to be a safety, that's going to be back there in deep coverage and, dominate back there, because that's not who Landon Collins is. Collins is a box safety, run-stuffing type of guy. Another name, though, and this one I would love, Adrian Amos, another safety from the Bears. Now, this guy is a cover guy, but he can also come down and play the run if you need him to. So think of a guy like Justin Reed, who we already have on the team. A good, balanced player. That's what Amos is. And I feel like the Texans need more of that instead of having a guy like Tyrann Mathieu, Kareem Jackson that can, excel at a certain spot, but kind of not so good in other spots. This guy is balanced. He can do both things well. So I think if we were to part ways with Kareem Jackson and Tyrann Mathieu, the one safety I would prefer would be Adrian Amos. Now the next name, I got Morris Claiborne, corner for the Jets. Claiborne, former first-round pick. The guy, I see him as a shutdown number 2 corner. I mean, of course, DeAndre Hopkins worked him when we played the Jets, but I mean, who doesn't DeAndre work? And to be fair, he is a number 2 corner. So Morris Claiborne, he did have a little bit of an injury history in the past. Feels like he got past that, so I wouldn't mind taking a shot on him. Same thing with Jimmy Smith, probably like a little 2-year deal. A lot of these corners I see in this year's free agency class, I just see them as a short-term solution besides maybe Ronald Darby. Darby's the only one that I could see sticking out for longer than 2 years, but everyone else, short-term deals, just kind of stopgap options that are better than what we have right now. Actually, you know, way better than what we have right now, because let's be honest, what we have right now is garbage. I mean, J.Jo's our best corner right now, and he's 34, and he didn't have really that great of a season, so yeah. Now, the next name, another corner, Darqueze Dennard, a guy from Cincinnati, another guy I see as a number 2 corner. I don't think he's that number 1 material guy, but I do think he could be a solid number 2 for us. I wouldn't mind signing this guy for, you know, a 3-year deal, probably bring him for a longer term instead of just a little 2-year deal, because this guy is younger. He's also pretty good. But again, I don't see any number 1 corners in this free agency class besides Jimmy Smith. And again, Jimmy Smith, we covered him earlier, and he's just a short-term answer, not a long-term answer. That's what I pretty much see in this free agency class. We'll have to build through the draft. Now, the next name, I got Max Williams, tight end from Baltimore. Now, this guy's a free agent. The Ravens have 2 good tight ends already under contract, rookies from last year. So I'm pretty sure Max Williams makes it into free agency. Now, I know what some of you guys might be thinking. Why tight end? We got Jordan Thomas and Akins. Yeah, you know, I understand that. And I really like Jordan Thomas. But the Texans, in my opinion, they need a blocking tight end. Someone that can replace Ryan Griffin. Because when Ryan Griffin was out there blocking, whether it was run blocking or pass blocking, the guy looked absolutely lost. Now, Max Williams, he's a guy that the Ravens use like that. He can go out there and catch passes if you need him to, but he was mostly used as a blocker. They even used him at fullback, and he performed quite well. So the Texans get a blocking tight end and a guy that they could use at fullback, and he's somewhat of a receiving threat. So I think that'd be a perfect fit for the Texans. You know, cut Ryan Griffin, bring in Max Williams. Now, the next name might come to a bit as a surprise to some of you guys, and that is Cole Beasley, wide receiver from the Cowboys. Now, I don't know what the Texans are planning on doing at the wide receiver position. What I do know is that D-Hop is your 1, Fuller's your 2, and Kiki's your 3. That is a given. We don't need starters. We need quality backups. And in my opinion, Cole Beasley would be a quality backup to Kiki. Cole Beasley hardly ever gets hurt. He has reliable hands and good route running. What else could he ask for? He's a veteran guy. He could probably help out Kiki, you know, help him take the next level, even though I do think Kiki will probably be better than Cole Beasley ever was. But again, you know, we need a guy that we know can stay healthy and who has reliable hands and we know isn't going to let us down. And Cole Beasley was kind of that guy for Dak Prescott, and you guys know Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott isn't exactly the best quarterback. Imagine what a guy like Cole Beasley could do with Deshaun. Now, the next guy, not many people picture this position as a position of need, but last season, the Texans, if you paid attention, they kind of played some more 4-3. A lot of people say the Texans should move to 4-3. Well, last year they played more of that 4-3. They had McKinney and Cunningham as, you know, two of the linebackers, and that other linebacker was Whitney Merciless, and we already know Whitney Merciless cannot cover. So you bring in Denzel Perryman, and you know, I 100% believe in Dylan Cole. I think Dylan Cole can be a hell of a talent, but the problem with Dylan Cole is he hasn't been able to stay healthy. And if the Texans really want to transition into this 4-3 more, then you gotta have some depth at the linebacker position. Although I do see Perryman as a starter, and I probably could see him starting over Cole. Him and Cole have a pretty similar skill set and pretty similar size. They're both 6 feet tall. They're a little bit lighter, quicker, faster. So I think it'd be a pretty good idea to bring them in just to add more depth to your linebacker group, add more talent there, because Cole hasn't shown the ability to be healthy, and I'm not going to rely on Whitney Merciless in coverage, honestly. Now, the last guy on my list is the running back, and that is TJ Yeldon from the Jaguars. Now, Yeldon, you can use him as a runner, but where I think we'd really be able to benefit from is the fact that he's a receiving back. Now, Yeldon, he ain't no, no joke. He's 6'1", 220, I believe. So he's a little bit bigger, and as a receiving back, that's kind of, good. Because most of the times when you think of a receiving back, you think of this smaller, lighter guy, easy to bring down type of guy. But Yeldon isn't that. Yeldon's, kind of a strong runner, so I think he'd be the perfect guy to kind of share carries with Lamar Miller if Foreman isn't able to come back. This guy would pretty much push Alfred Blue out because Yeldon can pretty much do everything Blue can do, but better. So that is my last guy on my free agency list. Again, this is subject to change because players can get re-signed and, all that stuff. And players get released too. So anyways, that's all I have for you guys for today. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.